So, the year is 1959. A little girl named Lucinda is at school. It's recess now, but she's standing away from the children playing and hears the voices around her. Recess is over, and Miss Taylor's teacher is calling the children to class. She has to call Lucinda several times because she doesn't move. Later in class, Ms. Taylor reminds the students that the school is celebrating its official opening day tomorrow. All students take part in a competition where they need to draw how they imagine the future. The children enthusiastically start drawing, but not Lucinda. The voices in her head force her to fill out a sheet with combinations of numbers. Time runs out before she can finish writing the last numbers, and the teacher collects the papers. All the drawings are placed in a time capsule, which will be opened in 50 years. The next day, at the William Dawes School opening celebration, the principal greets everyone and announces the ceremonial burial of the time capsule. After 50 years, their descendants will dig it up. After the ceremony, Miss Taylor notices that Lucinda is missing. All the teachers are starting to look for her. Miss Taylor goes down to the basement and hears some noise outside the door. When she opens the door, she finds Lucinda, terrified by the crushed fingers. She scratched something on the door with her nails. These are the missing numbers that she didn't have time to write down the day before in class. She asks the teacher to stop whispering. 50 years have passed. Our days. We meet John, an astrophysicist who unsuccessfully struggles with depression after the death of his wife. He doesn't see any meaning in his life after she died in a fire. He also has a son, Caleb, who also has a hard time. The next morning, the grand opening of the time capsule, which was buried 50 years ago, takes place at the Caliba School. The capsule is open, and all the children receive an envelope with a message. Khalid gets Lucinda's letter, and he takes out of the envelope a strange list of numbers instead of a picture. As he looks at the numbers, he begins to hear voices from everywhere. At home, while talking, Khalid's father notices a letter from school and asks Khalid about it. After putting his son to bed, John begins to look at the sheet of numbers with interest. Accidentally putting a glass of whiskey on the letter, he notices that the trace of the glass has outlined a circle in which specific combinations of numbers are written. He puts these numbers on the board and quickly realizes that they mean the date. September 11, 2001. Today the Twin Towers in New York were attacked, killing 2,996 people. The number of victims is also indicated in the letter immediately after that date. John is sure that this is just a coincidence, but nevertheless transfers the rest of the numbers to the board and examines them further. He soon realizes that the letter is full of such coincidences, dates and numbers of victims of various disasters, such as explosions, accidents, earthquakes, and more. All events are recorded in the order in which they occurred since 1959. John highlighted the dates of the tragedy with a red marker, and the number of dead in blue. There were also numbers whose values John could not determine, so the next day, he talks about the numbers to his colleague Phil. John reports that there is even a date on the list when his wife died. There are also 3 dates that haven't happened yet, and one of them says that his wife died tomorrow. There are also 3 dates that have not happened yet, and one of them says that 81 people will die somewhere tomorrow. Phil says it's too crazy to be true, and thinks someone was just playing a prank on John. John continues to dig further. He meets with Miss Taylor, Lucinda's teacher, who witnessed the burial of the time capsule back in 1959. She confirms the authenticity of the letter, and also tells us that Lucinda scribbled on the basement door and was found under very strange circumstances. John wants to talk to Lucinda, but finds out that Lucinda died of a drug overdose several years ago. At home, while talking on the phone, John sees a car pulling up to his house. Caleb approaches him, and the stranger gives him a stone without saying a word. This scares John, and he reminds his son to beware of strangers. While John searches the web for information about Lucinda's death, his sister Grace insists that John visit the family because he hasn't spoken to his father in a very long time, but he refuses. John has a difficult relationship with his parents, as they are extremely religious, and John is an atheist. The next day, John goes to school for lunch and gets stuck in traffic. He tries to change the route, but there is no alternative route. Looking at the coordinates on his GPS, he realizes that the uncirculated numbers in the letter, the meanings of which he could not understand, are the actual coordinates of all the places where tragedies occur. And he's right in the middle of one of these places. He gets out of the car to find out why the row is blocked, when suddenly a plane crashes to the ground. Several people are on fire while he tries to help. Returning home, John is still in shock from what happened. On the internet, he sees that 81 people died in this accident. At night, a strange stranger enters Caleb's room. Caleb wakes up, and a stranger shows him a vision that everything is on fire, and the animals are fleeing. Caleb screams. His father runs into the room and comforts his son. John sees a strange man through the window, runs out to look for him, but he's gone. The next morning, John and Caleb are at the museum. A man through the window runs out to look for him, but he's gone. The next morning, John and Caleb go to the museum. There John meets a woman. It turns out that she is Diana, Lucinda's daughter. John later admits to her that he was specifically following her to ask her about her mother. Diana gets upset at the mention of Lucinda. John explains that Lucinda's prediction has come true, and he needs her help. After all, the last tragedy will happen in 3 days, and 33 people will die. However, Diana and her daughter Abby are leaving. At home, John listens to the news about a possible terrorist attack. He checks the GPS coordinates that this is a subway station and tries to alert the police. Then John goes to the subway and chases a guy who is considered a terrorist, but he ends up being a petty thief. Then they see that the derailed train is coming towards them. There is chaos everywhere. Everyone is trying to escape. The train kills a lot of people, again confirming the prediction. Returning home, he is surprised to see Diana and her daughter. She came to tell John that the last disaster on the list was October 19th. This is the day on which Lucinda predicted her daughter's death, so Diana did not want to talk to John about it at their first meeting. Diana decides to bring John to Lucinda's former home, an old abandoned building where her mother hid from everyone. While exploring Lucinda's bedroom, they realize that the last numbers on the list following the day are not the number 33, that the reverse letters her, which means that everyone will die. John also finds many black stones in the house, similar to the one Caleb got. Outside, Caleb and Abby are waiting for the adults in the car. Suddenly, they both start to hear whispers and see strange figures calling them. Caleb uses a car horn to get attention. John and Diana run towards them, but the strangers disappear. They return to John's house. Diana can't believe that her mother predicted the death of all people tomorrow, and this could be their last night together. The next morning, John wakes up and, seeing Abby's drawing, suddenly realizes that the latest disaster may have something to do with the sun. Previously, he had conducted research on super flares in the sun that could hit the rest of the solar system and destroy it. He quickly drives to the observatory and checks the recent readings of the sun, and the summaries show abnormal levels of solar radiation. He thinks that a big solar flare could happen soon, and that would be the cause of the disaster. At home, they prepare to hide in the underground cave where Diana used to play when she was a child. It's time to go. He goes to get Caleb, but finds him at his desk writing the same list as Lucinda. Looking at his list, he realizes that what Lucinda scribbled on the door 50 years ago was the most important thing in the last prediction. So he goes to school, finds the door, takes it home, and starts looking for numbers. Diana is impatient and wants to come to the shelter before the disaster, so she steals the children and goes to the caves. Meanwhile, John finally finds the numbers on the door, and he assumes that these are the coordinates of a place where they can survive the disaster, but he finds no one in the house. He's heading after them. Diana stops at a gas station. On the news, the government announces impending trouble and asks everyone to take shelter, preferably underground. Diana calls John to tell him where they are. John tells her that he found out about the safe haven. This is Lucinda's old house, but Diana is scared and refuses to go there. While they are talking on the phone, strangers steal her car with the children inside. She also steals a car and tries to follow them, but crashes into a semi-trailer. She breaks her neck and later dies in front of John at exactly midnight, as her mother predicted. John drives to Lucinda's abandoned house and finally sees all of the strange men, and threatens to shoot. Kalia stops him and tells Otsis that strangers have been protecting them all this time, and that they must go with them to escape. It turns out that the strangers sent a message about major disasters, trying to save humanity from destruction. Then John sees a huge arc in the sky. It's time to go, but only the children, only the chosen ones should leave. Kalia cries, and she and her father say goodbye. The strange strangers turn into shining matter, and the ark leaves. Many other arcs are visible in the sky, which leave from different points of the earth. In the morning, John heads to his family's house. His sister greets him with hugs, and he tells her that Caleb is safe. He enters the house and hugs his father and everyone else. A solar flare begins to destroy everything and fire envelops the earth. At the end of the film, the ark leaves the children in different places of the new planet and leaves. Caleb and Abby run across the field to a huge tree. Now there are few explanations. The creatures that took the children turn out to be a more advanced alien race that chose several people and animals to save them from the imminent destruction of the planet. So, why did they take only the children? They're too young to take care of themselves. It can be assumed that these are children with different types of knowledge, skills, and abilities. They took the kids because they wanted to start over. The adults would just try to recreate what they had on Earth and eventually destroy the planet. That's it. Please like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss other reviews. Thanks for watching and bye to everyone.